Okay, here we are, part 4 of our 4-part series on culture and deviance. This is a really short video, but we just wanted to quickly explain the difference between subcultures and countercultures. Again, I'm a visual person, so in general, right here's mainstream culture. You'll notice subcultures exist within the larger culture versus countercultures exist outside of mainstream culture. Right? So kind of a visual. But let's break that down a little bit, right? So subcultures, right? A group of people with cultural patterns, right, that distinguish them from the dominant culture, right? So their values, their norms, how they do things might be a little bit different than the mainstream culture. They arrive out of a shared background, activities, but here's the big so what. The values and norms of subcultures do not challenge those of the dominant culture, right? They were a little bit different, but they don't directly challenge, right? So examples might be, college students at, the subculture at Shasta College versus Simpson College, right? Or the subculture on your baseball team, right? That your values and your norms and, the things you do, your traditions, your superstitious things to help you win the game. Obviously, they're a little bit different than mainstream culture, but they're not a direct challenge, right? Or, PC users versus Mac users. So subcultures exist, again, within the larger mainstream culture. Countercultures, very different. So like subcultures, right, they have values and norms that are different from mainstream culture, but unlike subcultures, countercultures' differences in values directly oppose those of dominant culture. Right? So we have some examples of, white supremacists, very much counterculture, right? That their values and their beliefs are very much in conflict with mainstream culture. But I include these other two pictures, right? The peace movement during the Vietnam War or the gay pride movement to make the point that sometimes countercultures can become subcultures and vice versa, right? So think about the gay rights movement during, the 60s and 70s, very much a counterculture. We mentioned earlier that it was actually illegal to be gay and work for the federal government. But of course, as norms and values of the mainstream culture have changed, countercultures have merged into mainstream culture to become subcultures, or sometimes cease to exist being some cultures altogether because they merge in with the larger culture. Right? So just an interesting point about countercultures. This changes all the time because, of course, the norms, values, and beliefs of mainstream culture is changing all the time. So I encourage you, think about the subcultures that you're a part of. Think about maybe any potential countercultures that you're a part of. Or can you think of a counterculture that is no longer a counterculture today or vice versa? Okay, that's it on our discussion of deviance and culture.